Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yay.
can hear you.
Okay, good. I just changed mics, so I was just making sure. While we're waiting for everyone, is there anything you're freaked out about from yesterday?
Probably everything. I just really need to come to your office hours to really ask like the in-depth questions.
That's good.
And we watch the videos.
Hey, so I think I realized when my Wi-Fi cuts out is because when lunch ends, all the students go onto Wi-Fi. So around like that's around 12:10. So if it gives me the same message, I'm just gonna cut out. I'm gonna turn my camera off. But I
Okay.
think because I noticed around that time it always happens. So I just want to let you know.
Nice. Do you have, are you guys back face to face with everybody or are you doing some online?
No, well, it's so I hate how we're face to face because we're face to face, the whole district is, but there are so many students that are out for quarantine because of close contact that we have to do face to face and Google Meets at the same time. So every day we have to be ready for something to happen. It's 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 stressful. I think it's too much on the students just switching back and forth. I think we should just stay fully online instead of going back to face because our district has constantly been switching just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I don't feel
So do you switch everybody or just if they have close contact, then they have to quarantine for 2 weeks?
they have close contact, but it doesn't matter about secondary contact because we have people that work here and their kids are quarantined, but they are not quarantined. I don't know. I feel like our health department, Gila Health Department up here in Payson, they don't do a good job with COVID.
Well, they're also allowing the districts to make their own decisions.
No, I think it's our district. It's literally Payson. It's just like Payson is just such like they all just like people like would yell at me for wearing a mask. Like when I used to work at Safeway. Like, yeah, I would be like, what do you mean? Like I have to.
Yeah, I don't
know. That kind of gives an explanation of like Payson and its people. That's why we came back face to face, I think.
Yeah, probably. Did I tell you once my daughter and I were hiking? This is quite a bit ago, probably when it was really bad, like, I don't know, October, November, when it started getting really bad again. And we were hiking and we had masks on and we were just finishing a trail. And it was just me and my daughter, and a guy was hiking up the trail and he goes, "You guys shouldn't be wearing masks. You should be enjoying the fresh air. And I just go, we're good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
that's like that, like that's all I said. And
no, thank you. I
because, well, I was just like, what do you care
want
if
some
I'm
fresh
wearing
air
a
now,
mask?
right?
Like
No,
I
yeah,
didn't
like
yell
up here,
at
but like,
him.
yeah, yeah, it's so
Yeah,
weird.
I didn't yell at him that he should be wearing a mask. So what does he
Yeah.
care if I'm not wearing a mask? Like
Yeah, because
it was
like I said, I was a cashier. They literally would be like, I'm working, you know, I'm on the clock scanning their items, and they're like, "You're such a sheep following these rules. Like, you guys are also blind. COVID is fake. Like, I've had like every day they would just tell me that, and I'm like, first of all, like I'm gonna wear a mask no matter what. Second of all, it's required at my work. You know,
I
like
just think people need to leave each other alone,
yeah,
man. Like,
I know.
oh, the
It's just so
stress.
annoying.
My kids have to decide if they're going to do last quarter face to face or online. They have their choice, but they have to commit one way or the other. So those 8 weeks, they have to commit. They've been online since Thanksgiving.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and so I don't know what they're going to decide, but
Yeah, they have to commit. Well, I mean, it's hard to just commit to one thing because, like I said, we all the schools went to in person, and the first week we already had lines of tons and tons of students go home.
well, and we have to commit to right after spring break, which don't you think we're going to have another problem right after
Yeah,
spring break anyway?
yeah,
So I don't know. I'm going to let them decide. They're 17 and 18 years old. They can make that decision, you know? So,
yeah.
okay. Before we get started, anyone have a t-shirt they want to share? You notice you can only see my head right now because you can't see my t-shirt yet.
I have one. I have mine.
Okay, I'm ready, Amanda.
Mine is a Greer shirt. Yeah, it's
I love Greer.
yeah. I go up there like once or twice a year, and my family did we stayed in a cabin in October for the MPS fall break, and so I got that when I was up there.
Nice. I just got an email from them today because, you know, whatever the Greer, whatever cabins, they always send me an email because I always think I'm going to go back there again, but I just have been too busy to. Love Greer. Anyone else have one they want to share?
I do.
Okay, I'm ready, Tyler.
If I don't throw my table everywhere. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it very well or not, but it's a periodic table of the Star Wars villains.
Love it. Love it. Kids love when you wear it. Like if they have a casual day at work, they love when you can wear, you know, a t-shirt, a fun t-shirt. I remember I was picking up my kids and a kindergarten mom a parent was there and she had on a shirt with a huge marijuana leaf. And my kids are old, right? Like my kids are 21 now. So this was a long time ago. And this parent was picking up her kindergartner and it had a huge marijuana leaf on it. And he said, can't we all just get a bong? And I was like, is that the shirt you chose to wear to pick up your kindergartner? And of course, the kids were all just learning how to read, you know, so they were all like sounding out. And I was like, oh my. And my kids are like, what's a bong? And I was like, let's just get in the car. How about that? Yeah. So it was a conversation I was ill prepared for. And I just looked at the kindergarten teacher and she just had this face on like, I don't know what to say. That's not a lesson I was prepared for either. So kind of like when my child came back from catechism and they said, Mom, why, if when you die, you go to heaven, why do they put your body in a box? Because they were having a funeral at church and he walked by the casket. And that was at age 4. And I was like, I am ill prepared for this conversation right now. So be prepared for crazy questions when you're a teacher, right? Especially you young elementary school teachers. Kids will give you way more information than you wanted, right? My mom couldn't get up early because she drank too much last night. You're like, thanks for that. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Fun facts to know about your parents of your kindergartners. So, okay, but the one fun thing is sometimes schools and districts or schools have like a theme for the year, right? and the staff gets shirts. Does anybody have a shirt from their school? Yeah. And so my sister taught at Flagstaff Unified School District, and so that's my shirt to share today. So it's Flagstaff Unified School District, and this was their theme. How many of you have seen this before, this logo before? I teach, what's your superpower? Yeah, so that's my fun shirt for today. Not very mathy, but still teachy. So, and it's fun when you have, you know, a theme for the year. And sometimes like all the 6th grade teachers will get shirts together, you know, and they'll wear them. So keep that in mind. Kids love when you have fun shirts. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about yesterday, and was anybody having a panic attack after multiplying fractions visually? Betty shaking her head, yes, absolutely. Madison's like, yes, absolutely. So let me know what you need for that. We can do, you know, flashback or whatever, but we don't have tons of time to spend on it. But, and hopefully you're really reviewing my slides. Like this, we spent virtually no time on, right? But you can see it. And notice at the very top of it, I have
Sharing your screen.
pickles. Hold on one moment. I'm going to share it right now. I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time because I had a warm-up problem up, like that you guys were reading. Not. It's okay. No worries. Okay. Remember this yesterday? We didn't spend any time on it, but I said it's there and you have an assignment. Remember that? Okay, so I'll quickly explain that to you. So pattern blocks, the double hex is 1, the yellow hex is a half, the red trapezoid is a 4th, the blue rhombus is a 6th, and the green triangle is a 12th. That's just like it was when we did adding and subtracting pattern blocks. I used the same key so as not to confuse you worse, okay? So, and on the left-hand side, we have an example that's 1/6 times 1/2. So that means 1/6 copies of 1/2. So the first thing you have to do is you have to model 1/2. Now we did it with number lines yesterday, right? We would model 1/2 with a number line, and then we would take 1/6 of the 1/2. So if we're modeling 1/2, that is a whole hexagon. Now I need 1/6 of a copy of 1/2. So I'm going to cut 1/2 into 6 pieces, which happens to be triangles, right? And then I want one of those. And so one green triangle is 1/6 of the hexagon, which was 1/2. But the size of that green triangle, remember the size is always compared to the unit, which the unit in this case was a double hex. So the answer is 1/12. Yes? Okay, and then you could go through the next example too.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we would be modeling, so for example, for the first one, copies of 1/2, each slice is 1/2, I understand that. So for the model, it would be the first fraction that we're modeling, right?
No, you always model the second fraction. So hold on. I don't know why I hit that button, but it happened. So notice the first thing I do is model 1/2 because I want to take part of the 1/2. So I need to be able to see the 1/2. Okay. Think about if it was just whole numbers. Let's pretend it was just whole numbers and it was 2 times 6. That's 2 copies of 6. So I'm going to show you 6 and then I'm going to copy that again. So it's the same idea. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, good. Man, I was just going to tell you something else too and I forgot. Wonder what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me. I don't know. Oh, Hannah put something interesting in the chat. Did you see? If you go to some boroughs, you get a free children's book about tacos for Read Across America. It's really cute. Nice. Okay, so go to some boroughs. Taco stand. Nice. Okay, so make sure you do the rest of those on that worksheet and you think them through. I know I was going to tell you something else, but I can't remember. These pages should look familiar-ish. This is a book that's always been on my bookshelf, like in my virtual classroom. No, I can't even put my hand on it. It's the one, if we look at my virtual classroom, it's called Math is Power. No, it's called, I don't know where it went, but it's on my virtual classroom too. Okay, so, and this is a nice rectangular view of it. But what's nice is after you go through these models with kids, they come up with things like, they're like, oh, so when I model a fraction times a fraction, I'm really just going to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. But they'll see it visually and they'll come up with the algorithm without you telling them the algorithm. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. Thank goodness. On Canvas, on our presentation for this week that I hope you're looking at, did anyone see the video, the very first video? It's a video of my son, and he's in like 4th grade. And so and then I linked the rest of them underneath to make sense of this. Is I never taught my kids math. I'll tell you that right now. And he was learning visual fraction multiplication and division. And I just saw him doing it. And he was in 4th grade. He knew no algorithms yet. And I wanted to show my teacher eds that this was real, right? That I wasn't just making it up, that kids were actually learning this. And so he was all ready for bed. He's in his PJs in the video. And I'm like, can you do some math problems for me real quick and I'll video you? And he was like, oh. And so he was like, okay. And so my video is super poor quality. I also prefaced that with that. And it was faced the wrong way because, it was past bedtime. He should have been in bed anyway. But I made the video. And if you watch that, he does the mathematics fascinating. And one of the first things he does on every single one of his problems on the multiplication is he takes out the multiplication sign and he replaces it with the word of every time. So instead of you seeing the word of and you changing it to multiplication, he saw the multiplication symbol and wrote the word of, and then he drew pictures for it. And then what's funny is I showed him those videos a year later, which a year when you're in 4th grade is a long time, right? And he watched those videos and he's like, what was I doing? I was a moron. He's like, none of that even makes any sense. Why was I not just multiplying straight across? And I was like, because you didn't know that algorithm yet. And so he thought he didn't understand, math well enough when he was drawing this, but it's fascinating. He had a huge conceptual knowledge of it. But the next year, he was already well down that path of algorithm. And he thought, what crazy thing was I doing? He did the same thing with division because he did partial quotients first, and then he learned long division. And he thought he was insane doing partial quotients. So those videos are fun to watch. If you haven't watched them yet, watch them, even though they're poor quality, just because they're fun. Okay, now let's go to our real problem today. A coffee packaging company packages 3 types of coffee: a premier, an economical, and a blend. Each pound of blend contains 1/3 of the premier and 2/3 of the economical. The company has 4 7/18 pounds of premier coffee available to make the blend. How many pounds of the blend will they be able to create, assuming it has enough of the economical variety? So I want you to just think about it for like 30 seconds, reread the problem if you need to. I did say, could you have a handout for today? And when I put it in my notebook, I actually have one with the coffee problem at the front, not the one I emailed you today, but if you want the coffee problem as well, I'll put it in the chat right now. So, and this contains the coffee problem and the doc, and the coffee problem is just at the very front. So just think about that. All right. So what operation would you do this for this? And could you draw a picture to solve this problem?
I was thinking about using division.
Okay. Anyone else thinking about using division? Bethel, Amanda, Tristan, Vanessa. So what told you that it was division?
Because they want to know how many, what is it? How many pounds of the blend will they be able to create out of the Premier? It's pretty tricky because they're like, have 3 different kinds, but they're trying to combine all the kinds to make one kind.
Are
So
they trying to combine all the kinds to make one kind?
no, just you need, from what I got from it, you need 1/3 of the Premier and then 2/3 of the economical variety. But then, I don't know, now I'm confused again. But yeah, it's division for sure.
I was
Ethel?
thinking that they want to know how much they have 4 7/18 of the Premier, and they want to know how many can we make for the economical, but we don't know how many of the. Oh wait, hold on, now I'm reading it. Oh yeah, so they want to make the blend, but we don't know how many we have of the economical. And so we have to find the economical one first before we could figure out how many pounds of the blend we can make with the 4 7/18 of the Premier. That's why I thought of division.
Do you agree with Bethel, her information? Because we're in making sense of the problem, right? We're in step 1, understand the problem. So we know we have 3 kinds of coffee, but really we have 2 kinds of coffee that we mix together to make a 3rd kind of coffee, right? And can you see this in real life? Well, Tyler can probably tell us, right? In real life, if things like this happen, but coffee places have really expensive coffee that they buy, right? And then they have super cheap coffee, right? And they're trying to make something middle of the road, because if you only sell the really expensive coffee, you're probably not going to sell enough of it to make money. If you only sell the cheap coffee, first of all, your coffee is probably not very good and people won't come back, but you also have to sell a ton of it, right? To make any money. So they decided to make this middle of the road coffee that's got some of the good stuff in it, but mostly the not great stuff in it, so they can charge more and have a better profit margin. So this is fairly practical. Tyler, am I wrong?
Nope, not in the slightest.
Okay. So, and when it says we have enough of the economical variety, what that means is we got a lot of cheap coffee in the back. We got pounds and pounds and pounds of it. So we're not restricted there. But we don't have a lot of the super expensive coffee, the Premier coffee. We only have 4 7/18 pounds. So since we sell mostly the blend, we want to know how much blend we can make. Did everybody get that? All right. So if we drew just a rectangle to represent our blend, how would I split it up with the Premier and the economical, given the information in the problem? If this is one, go ahead, sorry.
Very good. Our denominator is 3 with the 1/3 and the 2/3. So we split it up into 3 sections by drawing 2 lines. And then one of those sections will be the Premier.
Right, so this one's Premier, and this one is economical, and this one's economical, because it was a 2/3, 1/3 split there, right? Okay. Could you draw a picture to answer this question? Yeah, Jessica's like, yep, I could. I'm so excited. Someone said yes, they could, right? Some of you are like, why would I draw a flipping picture, right? Like that seems dumb, but you know more than your students, right? So be careful. Try to draw a picture. Now, I don't care about this is really not my picture. This is still making sense. So, but I really have 4 7/18 pounds. And I need to see how many of what are in there. What would my copies of sentence be for this? How many copies of what?
Would it be 2/3 and 1/3?
What do you think, guys? Alyssa's saying, would it be 2/3 and 1/3?
Would it be 6 because 6 divided by 3 equals 18?
I'm not sure, Sunita. What do you guys think? Hannah's saying 1/3. What would you
Well,
put in this first blank right here? How many copies of what are in what? Because that's what where our question is. As we put it in the chat, do you guys agree? How many copies of 1/3 are in 4 7/18? Do you agree? Because if I know that, that's how many pounds of blend I can make. Yeah? Who's drawing a picture? Anyone? All right, Jessica's drawing one. Did you already finish and draw? Because that
I
would
believe so, yeah, because I went ahead and made 4 of them because we already know we have 4 pounds. It's just trying to figure out the last like extra bit.
Okay, can you show, are you doing it on paper or whiteboard?
Whiteboard.
Okay, nice. Okay, so she has 4. So there's our 4 pounds. But this is all the Premier, right? Jessica?
Well, I did the 2/3, the economical, and then the 1/3 Premier. Because
Yeah, but when I'm making it, don't I use all the Premier? Isn't that what I'm trying to figure out, using all the Premier?
Oh, that I'm misreading it because I thought for per blend you do your 2 econ and 1 Premier. So that's why I
agree
did as
with you.
4.
I agree with you, but let's look at a new one.
That's what I thought too. I thought it needed both of those to make the one.
Yeah.
It does, but it already told us that I have an unlimited supply of the economical. So I don't need to keep track of that one. I just need to know how many 1/3 are in 4 7/18, right? Because I can use all of those 1/3 for my blend. Do you agree? So let's just pretend I have 1 pound of Premier. I know I have more than that, but I have 1 pound of Premier. How many batches of blend can I make with 1 pound of Premier, given that I know I have enough economicals sitting in the shelf?
3.
Tristan, very nice, and Evelyn, very nice. I can make 3 pounds of blend with just 1 pound of Premier. Yes? Do you agree? Because I have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And that's just with 1 pound. How many pounds do I have? 4. So I need to copy that 4 times. So far, how many pounds of blend can I make with what I have in my picture right here?
12 pounds.
12 pounds. Do you agree? Anyone not agree or need clarification? Everybody's following? Okay, because I can make 12 pounds of blend. That's just with my 4 pounds of Premier so far. But then I have some extra, right? I have some extra. I have 7/18. What is that about? Well, let's pretend I had thirds, right? Because then I can divide it into, if I want to split it into 18ths, I'm going to split each one of these thirds into how many pieces?
6.
6. very nice. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that should be 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's 18. I'm going to draw. Remember, I had that line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 1/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1/3. Okay, right? Do we all agree so far? Okay, and I have all of this. I have all of this one. And I got one little more sliver because I have 7/18. Yeah, that's my 7/18. So does everybody agree that now I can make another pound of blend with this third? Okay, so now I'm at 13. Yeah. This is the part some of you struggled with the rational number homework where it was the orange problem and there was a little bit left over. A lot of you were like, yeah, 3 servings. And I was like, did you read the directions where it said and parts of a serving? And you were like, no, I skipped that part. Right. Okay. So what's this little piece? And be careful because you want to compare it to what you're copying, right? So we're trying to see how many copies of 1/3 are in 4 and 7/18. So far we can make 13 batches. And then what part is this little piece? I'll give you a hint. It's not 1/18.
Would it be 1/6?
What do you guys think? Do you think it's 1/6? And Tristan, can you tell us how you got 1/6?
Because you split each of the thirds into 6 pieces, and so from that third, you have 1/6 of the pieces.
Excellent. Okay, so we can make 13 and 1/6 pounds of blend. Is that what your picture would have looked like or something? And did I have to do division? No, I just drew a picture. Was I doing division? Probably, right? But I can solve it with a picture. Yeah? Because did anyone try the math? Right?
I did, and I finished it like way early,
Okay,
and I got exactly what you did.
nice. But do you realize how much algorithmically you needed to know?
Yeah.
Because when you did that, didn't you have to make it an improper fraction?
Yeah, it was
And then
all
you had
prior knowledge.
Yeah, and then you had to know that you could rewrite a division problem as a multiplication problem, right?
Yeah.
And then you had to do a whole lot of multiplication. Did you use a calculator? Or did you do it by hand?
I did it in my head because it wasn't.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't the like wasn't that hard.
Okay, hold on. Hold it up again. Hold it up again, Evelyn.
I just kind of ran out of some space, so that's why I have
Okay,
like
so
an
you
arrow.
multiplied 79 times 3 in your head, and then
Well,
you
I
did
did
that
it on
division?
I did it right here, and then I erased it. I just did 79 times 3. Because I
Yeah.
can do it by hand. It's not that hard for
Yeah,
me.
so there's just a lot of work there, right?
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I just couldn't figure out how to draw it until I saw you do it.
Yeah, so
Like, my
and
brain
kids
couldn't visualize it.
kids will learn it the reverse, right? Kids will start with a picture and then you'll bring in the mathematics. So we just learned it backwards, okay? Or in the opposite direction as they're learning it now. So here's my, oops, that's not there. Here's my real picture, right? So you could see, and I still got the same answer. So if you need to review this later, you don't have to go back to the video. You can just go to this slide. A lot of you were right and you knew it was division. And this is what Evelyn was just showing us, because it's really asking us how many copies of 1/3 are in 4 and 7/18. But we can do it without using an algorithm. We feel more comfortable with an algorithm. So now I'm going to really twist your brain a little bit. Okay, are you ready? It's with a new manipulative, and the manipulative is called Cuisinart rods. Has anyone used Cuisinart rods before? Some of you might have, and you didn't know that's what they were, just so you know. Let me show you them. Oh, why are my Cuisinart rods not there? It's okay. Remember that virtual manipulative link that I gave you a long time ago? And we talked about this. Maybe it was after class for some of you. This link is a great link to bookmark because it takes you to all the virtual manipulatives, and then you can just select which one you want. So if you go here, Cuisinart rods are these, and we have both horizontal and vertical. Sometimes you might want to switch to the vertical, but this is what they look like. Okay, so this, has anyone seen these before? Yeah, a couple of you had. I had these when I was really little, and they were called simplex blocks. And I played with them all the time, but I had to play with them at the kitchen table. And I was fascinated by them. And I didn't really do any math. It just had these patterns and I had to build them. But I didn't realize how much I was actually learning at the time. It was fascinating because it was funny because I just asked my mom about them the other day. And she's like, yeah, I gave you those all the time. We played with them all the time. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so do you have your worksheet? Does everybody have their worksheet ready? Okay, so we're gonna make some sense of this. I swear I opened that worksheet on my screen and now I can't find it. Oh, okay, here I have it. So it says to divide one number by another, I'm reading from the worksheet. We are asking how many copies of the second number, which we would say is called the, what is the second number in a division problem called?
The divisor.
The divisor, very nice. Yes, the divisor, remember that from your midterm? Yeah, okay. So how many copies of the divisor are in the first number? What's the first number called? The dividend, yeah, okay. So for example, when we say, what is 6 divided by 2? We're asking how many copies of 2 are in 6? So if we say the dark green rod, and what I'm going to do is use it with this while you guys are looking at your worksheet or wherever you want. So the dark green rod equals 6, and the red rod equals 2. And you might see those little unit cubes on there, so that might help you see that, those grid lines. And it says you can see that there's 3 red rods that are equal to 1 green rod, dark green rod. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 being the size of the rod. Yeah? Everybody okay so far? You're like, so far, so good. Now it says make a train, that means put them in a row, of an orange rod and a brown rod together. That is going to be our unit or our whole. Yeah, I wasn't nice and I just said a blue rod is the whole. I said an orange plus a brown is 1. So a blue is 1/2 because it takes 2 blues to make 1 whole. Does this feel a lot like fraction circles, but with a different manipulative? Okay. So then if we're going to fill in the rest of that little table, a dark green would be what fraction?
1/3.
Very nice. And then a light green would be what fraction?
1/6.
1/6. And then a red is what?
1/9.
Very nice. 1/9. Ooh, No, it wants to put it on the end. I wonder if I do it again. Oh, good. There we go. How many there?
1/18.
1/18. Okay. So now we have our little key code for us, right? Given that the orange and the brown is 1. Okay. So now we're going to answer these questions. First, I have an example, and I say 1 divided by 1/2. In other words, how many copies of 1/2 are in 1? Well, our answer is 2, right? That would be comparing these first 2 rows. Now, let's do the first problem under the example. Do you see how it says, what is 2/3 of 1/9? Yeah? What is 2/3 of 1/9? So our copies of statement, what is it going to be? In other words, how many copies of, what are you going to write in that first blank?
Would it be 1/9?
It would be, you write 1/9. So how many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? Is everybody okay with why we write the divisor in that first blank and our dividend in the second blank? Okay, so now you can fill in all those copies of statements, right? I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Fill in all the copies of statements. All right. Did you write them all in? Okay, that wasn't too challenging. Now here comes the challenging part. Let's try to figure out that first one, and then I'm going to let you in your breakout rooms figure out the rest of them. So I'm going to start over, and I'm going to put out my 1 hole just so I remember that that's my, actually, I don't even think I need that 1 hole. We'll see if I do in a minute. Okay, so it says, what is 2/3 of 1/9? So in other words, how many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? Well, how would I show, I am going to put out that hole. How am I going to show 2/3? Which block should I use to show 2/3?
Dark green.
Yeah, dark green. How many do I need? I need 2, right? So the dark green is my 2/3. Which block is my 1/9?
The red.
The red. So I'm trying to figure out how many copies of the red are in the dark green, right? So what's my answer there? 2/3 divided by 1/9.
6.
How many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? What do you think?
6.
6. The answer is 6. Am I wrong? Are you okay? Now, you could check it with your algorithm if you wanted to, but we can see it. Yeah? Okay. You can try the next one. You know, what is 1 1/3 divided by 1/9? Be very careful Make sure you're making sense of the problem. Yes? Okay, so I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms. You all have your worksheets. One person should put up this so you guys can see it or make sense of it. Yes? Okay, I'm going to give you about, I don't know, 10 whole minutes. Okay. I know that's a lot. Go for it. Call me in if you need help. Okay, I know you guys had so much fun doing that. some of you are like, I am more confused than ever, right? I know that. Some of you are feeling that. You already know how to divide fractions. You already know that. Okay, so that's a given. If you don't know that, maybe there's another thing we need to talk about that you need to come visit me. But I'm just saying, you already know that part. So now I'm trying to twist your thinking on what it looks like to divide fractions, especially in a different way. And I had one great group that, all my groups are great, but one great group volunteered to do one. That might not be exactly what happened, but that's how I'm envisioning it. So Hannah and Tyler, I'm not sure how it came out, but which one of you, or if you're both going to explain it, and which problem are you going to explain?
We're gonna go ahead and explain number 3, if you don't mind.
Excellent.
And then Tyler would love to go over his verification.
Okay, perfect. And are you going to share a screen? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to share a screen? What do you want?
You know what? If you just want to share your screen and then I can tell you what to do, that sounds like a fun situation there.
It sounds like great teaching activity, right? Okay, I'm ready. I know it doesn't look like I'm ready, but I really am.
It's cool. You'll get there. All right, so for 3, we are doing 1 2/3 divided by 1 1/2. So we want to know how many copies of 1 1/2 are in 1 2/3. So first we're going to set up our 1 2/3. So for that, we could either do an orange and a brown and 2 blues, or we could just do 5 blues, whichever floats your boat.
An orange, a brown, and what?
Oh, sorry, 2 dark greens.
Okay.
And then we need to know how many copies of 1 1/2 fit in there. So for 1 1/2, that's where we used our 3 blues. Oh, but there's different ways you can do it. So we could do the other
I
way.
like 3 blues.
Okay, so then we stopped here because we can't even fit 1 more blue in there. So, but what we could fit was 3, we could fit a green is what we could fit in there, a light green, yeah. So we knew that the answer was going to be at least 1, because at least 1 1/2 fits in 1 2/3, but then we have that extra green, that extra 1/6. So we need to figure out how many greens are in the 3 blues, are in that 1 1/2. And
Can you explain why you needed, why wasn't your answer just 1 1/6?
Well, because the light green is 1 1/6 of the whole of 1 whole unit, but right now we're not trying to figure out how many greens are in 1 whole unit. We're trying to figure out how many greens are in 1 not how many greens are in 1 unit. Okay.
How many greens?
You're perfect.
Thank you. Yes. How many greens are in 1 1/2?
Because
So
that's
not
what
who
you're
you want.
copying.
Yes.
Because that's what you're copying.
Yes. So there's 9. There's 9 greens in that 1 1/2, which is the number that we're copying. So since we have that 1 green left over, we know that the answer is going to be 1 1/9.
Very nice. I didn't see any
journey.
party hats, nothing for them. Are
It's
you
fine.
kidding me
That
right
was,
now?
That was a trial.
No clapping hand. Oh, thank
Way to go,
you.
Hannah.
Geez. All right. And Tyler, you verified it's just an algorithm, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I took the actual 1 2/3 divided by 1 1/2, 1 1/2, and I simplified it into all fractions. So that way it was kind of easier to do the division and not have these mixed numbers. So that gave me 5/3 divided by 3 halves, essentially, which I turned that into, when you're dividing the fractions, take it into the algorithm. I don't know if everyone can see that or not, but I flipped it around. So then you're going to get 5/3 times 2/3, which brings me to 10/9, and then you simplify that to 1 1/9.
Nice. Okay. Now, so the key to this page is that you need to compare your leftover or your extra to what you're copying. You need to compare it to whatever you're copying. Since we're copying 1 1/2, we need to know what part of 1 1/2 that dark green is. Or sorry, it was a light green. That light green is. All right, Karina, question.
So is it 1 1/9 because there's 9 greens? That's what we get the 9 from, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's one copy because we knew it fit one time, and then a little bit more fit, and we needed to figure out what that light green was. And that light green was 1/6 of the whole, but that's not what we were looking for. We were copying 1 1/2. So we needed to see what part of 1 1/2 that one green, light green piece was. And there was 1/9. Tricky?
So we
Okay,
could have just
so
done without the blues, right? We could have done just all greens.
Well, somehow you had to show 1 1/2. You might have used, instead of this, you might have used an orange, a brown, and a blue to show your 1 1/2. Is that what you mean,
You could
Sunita?
also have put, you could also have put in 10 greens if you know that that is, or 9 greens if you know that is 1 1/2. So you can really use any of them as long as you can translate that fraction into a 1 to 1.
Perfect. Yep. Okay, now I
struggled on the fourth one. I'm not sure if you have time to go over it or.
Yeah, so now the only thing I want, the disclaimer I want to put on here is this next page that you have to do is a little bit different, and it's actually a million times easier. So I will make sure I explain that, or I'll send you a message, because I want you to just see if you can fill in that next page, or we'll do it for warm up tomorrow, but we need to get to proportional reasoning too, but it's okay, we'll have some time. So no stress. Yes, I want to do, which one did you say, the fourth one?
Yeah.
Okay, the fourth one. So the fourth one says, how many copies of 4/9 are in 2/3? Well, do you agree that that is 2/3? Okay, and do you agree that that is 4/9?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So do you agree that there's at least one copy of 4/9 in 2/3?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can see it. It ends right there, right? You can see where it ends. I don't know why I can't write on my own. Like when I share on my iPad, I can't annotate, but you guys, like I could annotate in your rooms. Oh, I don't know what I just did now. Okay, so what we need to look at now is say, okay, I know there's one copy. Remember how we filled in that last piece with a light green last time? What piece do you want to put in this little space? Or you could put more than one piece.
White.
You want to put white in there. Okay, perfect. Oops. Okay, so 4 whites. Now, what we need to remember is these 4 pieces, we're trying to find out what part of the 4 reds those are. Yes?
38, 12.
Okay, so we'll put our reds down here. I mean, our whites down here. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't it just put them there? Okay, but the reds only go to there. Yes?
4/8. No, no, I did it wrong.
So what is, no, you didn't do it wrong. What is 4/8?
1/2.
Okay, so what's our answer? 1?
1/2.
1 1/2,
Oh.
or 1 4/8, if that makes
I mean,
you
I
feel
knew
better
how,
then.
doing the other one, I didn't know how to do. I just visually, it didn't make sense, but now it does.
Yay, perfect.
Thank you.
And now you guys can do the rest of them. I promise you can. Okay, so do your multiplying fractions and do your dividing fractions. It'll be super fun. You could come and do them with me too. Okay. This second part, I'm not going to shove it down your throat today because I feel like some of you are about to cry anyway. We better stop. So, and we have 2 minutes, and I'm sure I have an extra ticket. So, let's see. Your exit ticket, you know you still have all those looming assignments, and a lot of you are already prepping for your final, right? I heard a couple people prepping for their final. Like Kelsey asked me a question after class. That was a good idea. I'm trying to find your exit ticket so I can put in the chat. Sorry. Any questions for me before you leave?
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So the purple rod is going to be a fourth.
The purple rod is a fourth. Of what?
Is it?
Of what?
The value, its value?
I don't
Or
think we
no?
even did that one, right? I don't think we did the
No,
purple
we
one.
didn't, but I was just looking at the second page on the division with the rods. So I was just asking.
Oh, the second page is the division of the rods. That one's a little bit different because at the top of that
Oh.
page, it's asking you, notice it says, let me look at that page. It says, what is 6 red rods divided by 2 red rods? So in other words, how many
Yeah,
groups
that's
of
the one
2
that I
red-
was looking at.
Yeah, so how many groups of 2 red rods do you have in 6 red rods? Sorry, I'm not trying to turn that around 17 times. Vanessa, so how many groups of 2 red rods do you have in 6 red rods?
3.
Okay, so now new question. What if you have 6 white rods divided by 2 white rods? In other words, how many groups of 2 white rods do you have in 6 white rods?
3 as well.
3 as well, very nice. So now, what if you have 6 purple rods divided by 2 purple rods?
3.
Yeah, it's still 3. So
Oh.
this is a discovery that you're making. So then the next question, notice it says, does it matter which color rods we use to solve 6 divided by 2?
No.
No, as long as, what was the criteria we made on all of those?
Well, they were divisible by the 2.
Did you notice they were all the same color? Like I divided red
Oh,
by red
okay,
rods,
yeah.
and then I divided white rods by white rods, and then I divided purple rods by purple rods. So as long as they were
Okay,
the
that
same
makes
color, yeah, as long as they were the same color, my answer was 3.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just looking at it and I was like, I wonder if I need to know, but I don't know. I guess I was just doing an extra step when I was looking at this.
You were, but that's okay. No worries. Okay. Any other questions for me?
I do have a question. That Jamboard that we worked on in class yesterday, is that just extra practice, or are you wanting us to complete that and submit it under that assignment? And
You don't have to submit it. You don't have to submit it. But if you want some feedback on it, I'm happy to give you feedback on it. As long as you were
On which
here,
one?
I'll give you credit for it.
The Jamboard from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But if you want feedback, I'm happy to provide it. How's that?
Love it. Thanks.
Okay.
So then on that Jamboard chart, just to clarify, because I'm really OCD, since because there is a submit option, even if it says miss or anything like that, it's not going to deduct from like the total grade or.
Nope, it won't. And I'll go in and give you credit for it. I just wanted you to have the submission option just in case you were practicing and you wanted to submit. So you wanted feedback from me.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? Questions? I'm ready, Karina.
So I saw that you sent us the email for signing up for the oral exams, but I didn't see any links to that. And I've looked in like the modules and the announcements and I haven't found it yet.
It's the same way you signed up for the midterm. Remember, it's in the Canvas calendar.
Your Canvas calendar?
Yeah, so if you go to the Canvas calendar, and then you make sure you have our class highlighted in your calendar, there'll be a choice. It says something like make an appointment. And you can share your screen if you want, and I can walk you through it.
I see the oral final exam.
Bye.
Bye, Vanessa. Yeah, and so do you see where it has appointment slots?
It's like, do I select a course and then it takes me? Oh, I see it now. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good.
And then I'm not sure if you know the answer to it, but do you know if